In the quiet village of Ravenscroft, the legend of Blackwood Manor was known by all. Perched on a hill, the mansion stood abandoned, its windows shattered and its walls covered in ivy. The locals whispered tales of ghosts and eerie occurrences, but none dared to enter. One stormy night, a young woman named Emily, intrigued by the stories, decided to explore the manor. Armed with a flashlight and a sense of adventure, she made her way up the winding path to the front door. As she stepped inside, the air grew cold, and the floorboards creaked under her feet. The inside of the manor was even more eerie than she had imagined. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling, and the remnants of old furniture lay scattered across the dusty floors. Emily's flashlight flickered as she moved through the rooms, her heart pounding in her chest. In the grand hall, she found an old diary lying on a broken table. Its pages were yellowed and brittle, but she could still make out the handwriting. It belonged to a woman named Eleanor Blackwood, who had lived in the manor over a century ago. The diary detailed Eleanor's descent into madness after the mysterious disappearance of her husband, Thomas. Suddenly, Emily heard a whisper. She spun around, but no one was there. The whisper grew louder, more insistent, as if someone was calling her name. She followed the sound, her flashlight leading her to a hidden staircase behind a large portrait. The stairs creaked as she descended into the darkness. At the bottom, she found a small, dimly lit room. In the center of the room was a large, ornate mirror. As she approached, the whispering stopped, and the room fell silent. Emily gazed into the mirror, and to her horror, she saw a ghostly figure standing behind her. It was Eleanor Blackwood, her eyes filled with sorrow and desperation. Emily tried to scream, but no sound came out. The ghost reached out, her hand passing through Emily's shoulder. "You must help me," Eleanor whispered. "Find Thomas and free us from this curse." Terrified yet determined, Emily nodded. She hurried back upstairs, following the clues from Eleanor's diary. She discovered that Thomas had been trapped in the mirror by a dark spell cast by a jealous rival. Emily returned to the hidden room and faced the mirror. "Thomas Blackwood," she called out, "I release you from this curse." The mirror shattered, and a blinding light filled the room. When the light faded, Thomas and Eleanor stood before her, reunited at last. They thanked Emily, their faces filled with gratitude, before fading away into the afterlife. The next morning, the villagers were astonished to find Blackwood Manor restored to its former glory. Emily told them her tale, and the legend of Blackwood Manor became a story of love and redemption rather than fear. The manor was no longer haunted, and Emily became known as the hero who freed the spirits of Blackwood Manor. Emily's tale spread quickly throughout Ravenscroft. The villagers, who had once feared Blackwood Manor, now saw it as a place of mystery and hope. Intrigued by Emily's bravery, they began to visit the manor, discovering its beauty and secrets. One day, as Emily was exploring the now restored manor, she found a hidden room behind a bookshelf in the library. Inside, there were old documents, artifacts, and a chest filled with letters. The letters were correspondence between Thomas and Eleanor, revealing the depth of their love and the trials they had faced. Emily felt a sense of duty to share their story with the world. She compiled the letters and diary entries into a book, ensuring that the true history of Blackwood Manor would be known. The book became a local sensation, and people from far and wide came to visit the manor and learn about its history. As the years passed, Emily continued to take care of the manor, turning it into a historical site and museum. She often gave tours, telling visitors about the love story of Thomas and Eleanor and how she had freed their spirits. The manor, once a symbol of fear, became a beacon of history and romance. One evening, as Emily was closing up the manor, she felt a gentle breeze and heard a soft whisper. Turning around, she saw the faint, shimmering figures of Thomas and Eleanor. They smiled at her, their faces filled with peace. "Thank you, Emily," Eleanor whispered. You've given us the gift of eternal peace." Thomas nodded. "You've ensured our story lives on. We are forever grateful." With that, they faded away, leaving Emily with a heart full of warmth and a sense of fulfillment. She knew that their spirits were finally at rest. The years rolled on, and Emily eventually grew old. On her last night at Blackwood Manor, she felt a presence in her room. Opening her eyes, she saw Thomas and Eleanor once more, their hands outstretched. With a serene